started off such a normal day. I mean, nothing seemed to be able to go wrong. It was just normal, like, weekend normal, go to the beach and do stuff. Like, what teenagers do on weekends. I pulled up at the beach and got out the car. I went through the beach. It was so scenic, like, beautiful. Nothing bad could really happen today. First, I stopped off at the campfire. I always do this, as I'm usually tired of the really long journey that it takes to get to the beach. I then decided to head toward the ocean. I mean, I didn't think that anything bad would happen, because I'm a really strong swimmer, and the water wasn't deep, so I headed toward the sea. As I splashed around having fun, I suddenly felt a really sharp pain inside my head, and all of a sudden I was underwater. I had no clue why. I was just under, and it was terrifying. Like, I don't even know what happened. The next thing I remember was waking up in a car. I was right in the back, and it was awful. I had no clue where I was. I had a blindfold on. When I woke up, I was in a shower. I mean, random, yes, but I was in a shower. I managed to untie myself from what I was tied to, but I couldn't see a thing because of the blindfold, and I couldn't even shout for the gag. So I crept outside and right through the house. The journey through the house was pretty treacherous, but once I managed to get outside, it was great to have air. But I managed to get the blindfold off on the way too, which proved extremely helpful. I started to run. I just wanted to run away, really. Like, of course you would. I was pretty sure I'd been kidnapped or something. Then I felt a large whack in the back of my head, and next thing I knew, I was in a tent, like in the middle of the woods. I had no clue where, because again, I had been probably blindfolded for the journey, or maybe I was just unconscious. I was tied to a pole too, which obviously was a problem. But luckily, I managed to finally, after much fighting, untie myself and make my way into a bush where I went into hiding upon hearing footsteps. Once the footsteps had faded away, I began to think about coming out. Despite being scared, I thought about it and then made the decision to come out. Upon emerging from the bush, I just had to run. I hid in more bushes, to be completely honest, because I was absolutely terrified. Like, beyond terror, beyond my mind, I was terrified. I mean, you would be though, wouldn't you? You were just at the beach, enjoying a nice peaceful day, and then you get whacked on the head. Digging around in the bush, I found a skateboard. I normally would not be able to skateboard because I'd be terrified, but now I knew there was urgency. So I skateboarded right through and down a hill. Little did I know this was going to be a massive mistake. I kept checking behind me as well. I was terrified. I mean, like, beyond terrified again? But then I started to slip. The skateboard was falling under my feet. It was scary. And then suddenly I was staring at the ground. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. Everyone had been fussing about me. I could hear them outside. I was fine, just my head hurt a little. I sat in my room, and then I got these messages. I mean, I was scared, obviously. But you see, I'd already contacted the police when I got brought into hospital. So I knew I had a bit of a problem. Once I got finally released from the hospital, they made me go in a wheelchair, but I was pretty sure I was fine to go without, really. So I made my way outside, and then I had to go to the police station for interrogations because I already told the police I was slightly too late to come up to my promise, but it should be alright. At least that's what I thought at the time. I mean, how would they, whoever kidnapped me, find out? Of course they wouldn't. That's what I told myself. The police station was eerie and dark. Pretty terrifying. So, I made my way in the interrogation room with a lot of terror still. Even though I knew I was safe from the kidnappers with the police, I was still scared. Their messages sounded threatening. So then, the interrogation went okay, and I was just on my sofa and there was an alarm going off somewhere. I guessed somewhere just set off a car alarm. At least that's what I hoped. And then I heard a knock at the door. I'd been dreading this knock, so I got up and answered it. I knew they'd perhaps even kidnap me again if I didn't answer. I guessed it was the kidnappers. That's the last thing I ever remembered. To be continued.